Hi, everybody. My name is James Green, and I'm going to talk to you for a minute today about just a couple tools that if you are just a VMware administrator, they'll make your life a whole lot easier. So if you do a lot of work with VMware, you've probably heard of most of these before, but if you haven't, I want to make sure that you know about them. So just real quick, I'm James. I'm a consultant. I blog at vertadmin.com, and you can find me on Twitter at JD Green. So these are the 5 tools here real quick. RV Tools, ESXi Customizer, VCheck, VDI Calculator, and of course I had to mention AutoLab. So RV Tools, what RV Tools is going to do for you is basically query vCenter and ask a bunch of questions about your environment and then give you that back in a very consumable format where you can sort it and find out a lot of information about your environment real quickly. So I'm just going to show you a real quick demo here. You point it at your vCenter, give it your credentials, and then it's kind of off and running, pulling down as much information as it can find. So I'm running this against my lab here. It's very small on my laptop, so I only had one VM in there, so it's not super interesting. But so you can see here, all these tabs across the top have tons of information, and like I said, you can sort by, so if I want to see what are my biggest VMs, right? Sort by that field, and now I know. Here you see I can disconnect connected CD drives. Really handy if you're going to do maintenance or something like that. I can look at all the snapshots that I have out there. Go beat that guy for taking a snapshot and not deleting it. I can check versions of VMware tools, and I can upgrade them in mass and in a coordinated way, which is really helpful. And then there's this tab at the end, it's called vHealth, I think, and it basically just has a bunch of alerts about this is something you probably want to know about your environment. And then I can dump it all out to a spreadsheet and do charts and import it into something else, send that to people, or what have you. And it's basically output in the same format as what you were looking at before, but then you can do Excel magic to it. So ESXi Customizer. So if you ever have an occasion to need to build a custom ESXi image, the standard way is Image Builder, which is a Power CLI tool, and you'll do it so rarely that every time, well, if you're me anyway, to go to the documentation and look up exactly how you do that. This does it for you really fast and really easy. So it's a little script that you run, builds a window. And I just have a couple fields to fill out here, so I give it an ISO. So I'm going to give it a 5.5 ISO. And then give it the software I want to include. So in this case, I've got a VIB for the VMware tools for ESXi Fling. So I'm going to add that. And then where do I want to write it to? And then run it. And this literally takes, 5 maybe seconds once I hit run, compared to at least 5 minutes if I were building it myself with Image Builder. So fast, super simple, and then you can put that into your auto-deploy environment or give it to your customer or whatever. So VCheck is a series of scripts that check on health of your environment, and they all run together, and it's meant to be used as sort of just a daily health check on your environment. You schedule it maybe 5 in the morning and run it, and when you get there, you've got a report on what's going on in your environment. So first time you run it, it sends you through this wizard sort of thing, and it's asking you all this kind of information like, what SMTP server should I use? Who do you want the report sent to? And then you're setting a bunch of thresholds like, what sort of latency do you want to be alerted on? How much disk space do you want to have left before I send an alert? Some of that kind of stuff. And so tons of questions, lots of parameters you can set. And then when it kicks off, by default, it's actually running with see, this is still the configuration, but this is only the first time you run it, and then it stores those in a static file. But then you can see here it's running 111 different modules, which are all, you can add and remove those and run only the ones you want. You can also add your own. And so it's just running tons of checks against my environment, and then when it finishes, it's going to spit out this beautiful report that I can have in my inbox every morning. And the idea here, which I did the opposite for the demo so you could see this, but the idea is really that you don't want to see anything in here because it should be alerting you just to something you need to check out. Hey, you got a data store that's low on disk space, or whatever. But just a really great way to regularly get a pulse on your environment and find out if everything is okay. The VDI calculator is a Java tool that allows you to tweak many different parameters and find out pretty close to what you're going to need from a resources perspective. So in this one, I just kind of made something up. So you have, I don't know, what is that, 25, 30 different parameters there that you can modify. And you can just kind of play around with it and figure out what you need. So let's say I'm going to use 1,000 desktops, and I'm not going to use the view storage accelerator for whatever reason, and I've got 10 core CPUs. And I hit update, and then you can see at the bottom here, it's telling me if you build an environment like this, you're going to need 9 hosts. And if, say, I get a higher VMs to core ratio because I'm awesome, then I update the display and it says, hey, now you only need 6. And my manager will be very happy about that because I only need 6. Here's an example of storage. So it's saying right now I need 52,000 front-end IOPS to support this, but if I decide I'm going to turn on the view storage accelerator or something like that, now I only need 47.5, and I can just kind of play with things until I get it to a place that meets my requirements and is pared back, as far as the business might need me to. And then when I'm done, put it on a nice little report, print it out, and give it to my boss, and he thinks that I spent hours and hours doing calculations in the basement. And then finally, AutoLab, which is a bundle of automation to allow you to build a lab really fast and in a repeatable way. So basically what you do is give it some media and then start booting machines, and it's off building you an environment. So you can run it in ESX or in Workstation or Fusion, whatever you have available to you. So you basically download a zip file. It comes with a bunch of VM folders. You import those VMs and then supply it your own media, and following the guide, you start powering them on and they build themselves. And I don't have a demo for this one because it takes like 2 or 3 hours to complete the process, but I mean, that's compared to a couple long evenings to build the same thing yourself. So it's PowerShell and shell scripts and many intricate things, and you end up with something like this at the end. A couple hosts in a cluster with a vCenter and some VMs on there that you can play with. And basically, you can test all the features of a fully functional lab, and you can get all this running in, I actually have that running on my laptop back there, and it's only got 8 gigs of RAM. So you don't need a massive lab environment to test something in vSphere, and that's part of the point. So I just threw a few other ones up here that I didn't have time for, but I think are pretty cool. The top 2 are flings. The third one is by my friend Eric Shanks, and the bottom one is mine, shameless plug. But I think I use it all the time. It's really helpful. So that's it. Thank you very much.